This is Keith Weaver. He is one of my favorite people in my group. I can say that because everyone's my favorite. And he is a business coach. And I just wanted to take some time to kind of ask Keith some questions about how everything's going for him during this time with the coronavirus. So Keith, I'll turn the time over to you if you want to kind of share what you do and how your company's been with the coronavirus and everything.
Well, to start off with, the business is Weaver Business Coaching. I'm the owner and the head business coach, but we work with businesses to help them improve their processes and systems, their mindset, and work to grow their business. And obviously right now, a lot of businesses are kind of a little bit in a reserve mode, pulling back on their budgets and stuff. And so several clients have backed off and said, hey, we want to take a little break for 2-3 months, make sure that we get through this, and then we want to get back into it hard and stuff. So had a little bit of a break from clients. But another way that we've kind of responded is, I like doing in-person coaching, getting to know people, seeing them in their workspace. It helps just from a frame of reference as well as just a little bit more accountability when you're in their space. But been moving much more to virtual coaching online, doing a lot of Zoom kind of coaching. I've also been doing a lot of online webinars and trainings. I've been doing 2 or 3 a week the last few weeks, educational things on everything from, repositioning your business, pivoting it, going back and kind of doing some of the basics of business planning and things like that, as well as time management, different things like that. So a lot of little webinars and trainings, which has been, great just to get word out there and kind of help people for free. Because right now, people are looking for answers, looking for help, and not necessarily want to spend the money, but, can provide some things for free there. But another way that, I've kind of adjusted things a little bit is in the marketing space. There's kind of 3, if you will, ways to market. There's a short-term marketing where you're looking for clients and customers immediately. You're doing call to actions, you're doing sales, things like that to get immediate customers, and that's short-term marketing. And then there's kind of a mid-term marketing where it's more keeping on top of mind, doing education, providing value, positioning yourself as the expert, details of options, services, things like that. And then kind of a long-term marketing, which is more branding, which is what like the big dogs, the McDonald's and Coca-Cola and stuff does. But kind of pivoted from short-term marketing, looking for immediate clients and customers, to more midterm. So positioning myself for when things kind of calm down, get back to normal, again, that people are aware. And so switching from a short-term marketing to a midterm, which for me has been really good, for some businesses that maybe their customers are holding back on their money. That's not a bad way to go to kind of change that short-term marketing more to a midterm marketing where you're still putting dollars into marketing, you're still staying up on it, but not looking for the immediate return because maybe it's not there right now. So those are just some of the things that we've been doing to kind of pivot and make changes to what we're doing.
No, I love that. That's absolutely wonderful. You kind of mentioned this already, the value you're adding by doing these things for free, which I think is absolutely incredible. Are there any tips as an expert in your field that you can give the audience today?
So one that I just wrote an article on and even did a video training on that I'm going to be posting in the next day or 2, but really talking about kind of mindset and locus of control. And I have a background as a therapist, and so this kind of comes from that. But locus of control is basically a psychological concept that there's certain things that are internally controlled, that we can control, our destiny, we can control our actions, our thoughts. And then externally, there's things that we can't control. And right now, a virus, governmental regulations, things like that, we can't control those. But what you see in trauma is like, people that have gone through major hurricanes or wars or, being a POW or things like that, they really start to pivot in their mindset and focus more on the external locus of control, meaning they kind of get a sense of helplessness and hopelessness, kind of powerlessness, because they're focused so much on there's all these things I can't control. And we really have to get away from that and be aware that there's that tendency within all of us, as humans, and really fight to maintain that internal locus of control and say, okay, there are things that I control, and I'm going to be proactive about making sure that I stay there and keep that mindset and working toward that. And part of that, from a business standpoint, I think really comes back to understanding what your core of your business is. And just a couple quick examples. For example, Airbnb, big company, and they're focused on, rental spaces, short-term kind of a thing. And that's their core. They know that. They provide space, living space on temporary basis. Well, they've been able to pivot, keeping that core, but they've been pivoting marketing to healthcare workers. So people going to New York to be healthcare workers, they need space. So Airbnb has been advertising to them saying, hey, stay at Airbnb, or other big cities where healthcare is needed. So they're staying to their core, but they're pivoting, right? There's perfume companies. What do? They make, chemicals. They make things that are helpful, smell good. They've been able to pivot, holding on to that core of what they do, but starting to make hand sanitizer. So the more we understand and have a clear picture of what our core business is, then we can kind of problem solve and say, okay, being true to what our brand is and what our core is, how can we pivot to adjust to what's going on? Maybe it's adding a new service, maybe it's changing the products that we have, whatever it might be. But if we don't have that strong core, it's kind of hard to make that pivot. So, just doing that. And then, along with that, if you know the core and what your brand really stands for, looking at how can we have a value proposition? What's a need or a solution that we can fill at this critical time? And what's the value of our network? We've already got a network of people, whether on social media, on the website, on past customers. How can we use those and maybe build from there, or even target new customers? In the example of perfume companies making hand sanitizer, it may not be their same target market, but it's growing a new target market based on that core and that branding and the value proposition that they have. So, the more we can really get back to the basics of understanding those things, the better we can be and stuff. But a good place to start is doing what we call a SWOT, which is, looking at our strengths, our weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, both internally and externally, what's going on in our business. And then even doing kind of brainstorming parties where, you get internally your staff, or even externally people together and kind of doing a brainstorming of, okay, how can we pivot? How can we adjust? Because, internally, we're kind of microscopic, in our vision of what's going on, where we need an outside perspective sometimes, someone outside to help us think a little differently and kind of brainstorm new and creative ways to do things. So, it's good to get an outside opinion. If you have a mentor, if you have, a good strategic partner that you can team up with and do some brainstorming.
I love that. That is so helpful. Thank you. Okay, our time is running short. I know you have to go. Just kind of in closing, and you kind of talked about this already, but are there any kind of opportunities that you've identified that will alter the way you do business once things go back to normal?
I think things are a little fluid, and so, we're still brainstorming, we're still working on that. But, I see a lot of businesses that I work with, some do conferences, and they're looking at doing more online conferences where they can, save money, but also have a larger geographical reach. So I think rather than in-person conferences, we're going to see more online conferences, right?
Right.
I also, know several clients that as their lease is looking to run out in the next year, they're already looking at, hey, let's back off the physical space our company has. Now that we're pivoting to employees working from home, let's downsize our physical office space and take advantage of that. And so it's getting businesses to kind of rethink what's going on. And I think we're going to see some more of that where, a client that I know that, they have about, I don't know, probably 7,000 square feet in their office, and they're looking at cutting back to, like 2,500 square feet or whatever, because they're going to have employees work a lot more remotely and at home and stuff. So I think some of those things are going to be long lasting as we move forward.
That's probably true. It's incredible. What a blessed time. I think about it. If this had happened at any other time in our history, I don't think we'd be surviving as well as we are right now. The ability we have to work from home, what a blessing.
Yeah, technology has been a huge advance and a huge benefit to all of this. I mean, we think we're stir crazy now. Imagine if we didn't have social media, we didn't have Zoom, we didn't have those kind of things. So.
Truly. Well, Keith, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Hey, good talking with you. Good seeing you. I hope everything continues to go good for you.
Thank you.